Okay, we are going over the unit states of matter, and this is the first part. So we're going to talk about pressure conversions today. So the first thing you need to know is what are the three types of pressure conversions? So the first type is you have 1 atmosphere. So this represents atmospheres. This unit represents millimeters of mercury. This one represents kilopascals. So these are all different types of pressure conversions. So for every 1 atmosphere, you have this 760 millimeters of mercury, and 1 atm can also be represented by 101.3 K pascals. So, and vice versa, if I gave you millimeters of mercury to convert that to K pascals, so for every 760, that equals 101.3. So these are just the pressure conversions, the 3 of them. So we're going to go ahead and practice our first type of problem. How do we convert 190 millimeters of mercury to K pascals? So write down what you first have. I start off with knowing 190 millimeters of mercury. So now we set up an equation to get it to the unit we want. So if this is millimeters of mercury, to convert to a different unit, I know this goes in the denominator of the next part. And I always use a conversion factor. So 760 millimeters of mercury. For every, you're getting to K pascals, so the conversion is this equals 101.3 K PA. So what you do is you multiply these two numbers, so 190 times 101.3, and then you should divide by 760. So pause and complete that calculation. And your answer should have been 25 kPa. So this last unit we end up with is going to be the unit in our answer, and we always know we're done when we get the unit we want. And there's only one step in these. Next, how do I convert 190 millimeters of mercury to ATM? So again, you write down what you have. I have 190 millimeters of mercury, and then I use my conversion factor, so I set it up. If this is my unit here, I know that unit goes in the denominator, and the conversion is 760 millimeters of mercury for every what? Because I'm solving for ATM. So ATM is for every 1 ATM. So 190 times 1 is just 190. Divide that by 760. Pause and see if you can get the correct answer. You should have gotten 0.25 ATM. Okay. So those are just simple conversions using our conversion factors. Very simple, similar to setting it up to solve for moles or switching from moles to another unit, to grams or something like that. So next type of problem you'll see is, say I have pressure at the top of Mount Everest is 33.7 kPa, and I want to see what it would be if it's greater or less than 0.25 ATM. So this is the unit I have, and ATM is what I will convert in. So we already know how to do that process. So we write down what we have, 33.7 kPa, and then we write down our conversion factor. So for every 101.3 kPa, and again, I know to put that unit in the denominator because I'm going to divide by that unit to cancel those out. So this, whatever you start with, goes in the denominator of the next part. And I'm converting to ATM. So the conversion from this to ATM is just ATM is 1. Now I go through and I calculate. So pause and see if you can calculate. You should have done 33.7 times 1 divided by 101.3, and your answer should have been 0.33 ATM. So is this greater or less than 0.25 ATM? And it's greater, right? So your answer would have been greater. Okay, the last type of conversion problem is how many millimeters of mercury are equal to 360.5 kPa. So this is what we have, and we want to get to millimeters. So that is mmHg. So millimeters of mercury, mmHg. So I start off with what I have again, 360.5 kPa. Then I go ahead and set up my conversion. So pause and see if you can set this up and solve. Okay, so you should have known that kPa should go in the denominator of my next part, and the conversion is always 101.3 kPa. And I'm trying to get to millimeters of mercury, so you should have put my conversion to millimeters of mercury is always 760 mmHg. So you go ahead and multiply these two, 360.5 multiplied by 760, then divide by 101.3, and you should have gotten 2,704.6, I believe. So we rounded to 2,705, and the unit is mmHg. So see if you can go through these and rewatch the video, see if you can answer these without all of the answers written, and set up the conversion parts.